Why is my life your business? Third Sunday is what I call bonus Sunday, so I kind of, sometimes I can be messy on third Sunday. But this is not a messy. This is coming strictly from the scripture, the word. It's just a word that I got it. Ask somebody, go and talk to them. It's okay. We ain't going to be here for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Why is my life your business? Y'all been wanting to say that to some people anyway, so now you got permission. Go on and say to them, go on, look dead in the eye and say, why is my life your business? Now, this is not personal. I'm not talking about me or you. It's really the word. It's just the subject that I use with a little spin on it. Let's see where we pulled that from. This is not a long. I only have 1 point to make today. That's it. That's how short it is. It's not long. Let's pull from John chapter 21. And I'm going to pick up the story because Jesus was restoring Peter as this goes. They were having breakfast on the sea. They were out fishing, and Jesus, they hadn't caught nothing all night, and Jesus came on shore and told them to cast your net on the right side, and they did, and the draw was so heavy that it's a wonder the net didn't break. It was only miraculous. So ultimately they dined together, and then Jesus proceeded to restore Peter, the denial 3 times, and so he gave 3 statements of restoration and instructions of feed my sheep and so forth and so on. And he and Peter and John, Jesus walked together a ways to have a conversation, and so we're going to pick up the conversation. Jesus said to Peter, feed my sheep. That's the third and final statement of restoration. And I say to you, when you were younger, you girded yourself and walked where you wished. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hands, and another will gird you and carry you where you do not wish. This he spoke, signifying by what death he would glorify God. In which he would follow in the same fate of Jesus. And when he had spoken this, he said to Peter, follow me. Then Peter, turning around, saw the disciple whom Jesus loved following. And that was John, the beloved. And he'll tell you a few other things about what happened in the upper room. Peter, seeing him, said to Jesus, here it is, but Lord, what about this man? What about him? You just told me and prophesied what would become of me and how life would measure out and end. So he immediately turns and says to Jesus, but what about this man? What about John? Jesus said to him, if I will that he remain till I come, what is that to you? Now, many say that this is Jesus being sarcastic with Peter, and to a degree he was. He was using some sarcasm. So he says, if I will that he remain till I come, and you'll see it, that he really did, and I'll show you how that worked out. Here it is right here. I forgot to underline it. What is that to you? You follow me. In other words, focus on where you going. Don't concern yourself about John. Let me deal with John like I did with you. But in the meantime, don't make John your concern. You follow me. Then the saying went out among the brethren, this was Peter's doing, that the disciple would not die. Because he misinterpreted Jesus' statement, misappropriated it, and misunderstood it, and then began to put out a rumor, which was a report based on his interpretation, which was the wrong interpretation. So the saying went out as a result of Peter, my God, that the disciple would not die. Yet Jesus did not say to him he would not die. We just read that. But this is what he said. If I will that he remain till I come, what is that to you? That's what he said. So here it is. Immediately, this is what this shows. After Jesus' prediction of Peter's glorious martyrdom, because he talked about the manner in which he would glorify God in his death, following in the fate of Jesus being crucified, why Peter chose to be upside down, because he understood that they would equate him with Jesus. And so he said, do it upside down so that my crucifixion would not be in the same like manner as his, but that the cross, would be remembered for what it is and who it is, the cross itself. So after this prophecy, a prediction of Peter's glorious martyrdom, Peter asks about John's future. After Jesus just prophesied his glory, the manner in which he would glorify God, he immediately turns and asks about John's future. What about this man? And of course, Jesus' reply is, again, what is that to you? You follow me. You obey me. You do what I've anointed and called you to do. Here's where I'm going to start moving to that one point. Some of the greatest obstacles, and I want you to see this, to achieving, is not the power of spiritual forces working against us, as we often say, because really we have victory over a lot of that. So it's not the power of spiritual forces that's binding us and keeping us bound and all, but instead it's a loss of focus. Say loss of focus. Loss of focus. And here it is right here, an obsession with what God is doing in other people's lives. We cannot focus on what God is doing in our life because we are too busy focusing on other people's lives. It's not the power of the enemy tripping you up. It's hard to see where you're going if you're watching everybody else. So this leads me to the one and only point that I'm going to make today. Only point. You will never get to where you are going if your eyes are on other people's destiny.
Yes, Lord.
That's all I want to tell you today. You'll never get to where you're going if your eyes are on other people's destiny. You'll never get to where you're going if your eyes are on other people's destiny. That's why the Bible says scripture like he's who take hold to the gospel power, looking back, is no longer fit for the kingdom. Because you'll never get there looking back. So you can't reach your destination, not because the enemy is tripping you up, but because you can't focus on where you're going. On where God is taking you.